Genesis chapter 9. Glory to the Lamb of the living God. Blessed Lord Jesus. Welcome this meal, our Savior. Taste and see the Lord is good. God. Father, we minister unto you from your word, from ones you love in your word, Moses and all those he writes about. From those who love you, my Jody and I. Bless you, my wife, my babe. Love you, babe. Genesis chapter 9. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. The reason I signify that is because back in the day, in the earlier parts, it said, Be fruitful and multiply and have dominion over the earth.
That was before the flood, yeah.
Yep. As, I think, I don't know, was that before or after Adam was born? But
chapter 2, I don't know.
Possibly. Anyway, the reason I put that forth is because in the beginning, dominion was given unto man over the earth. But at the fall in the garden, the dominion had been taken away from man because innocence fell from them. Where innocence is, dominion stays, and truth and everything else. That's the fullness of what dominion means.
And that's why you want to be born again.
Yeah. To walk in that dominion of overcoming your own world.
Yeah.
Which is what Jesus gave us when the veil in the temple was rent from top to the bottom.
Thank you, Father.
And his proclamation. Be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world.
And his own thoughts.
So, if having dominion over the world is overcoming the world, and he says, be of good cheer, for I have overcome the world, then being born again, and all it's entitled and entailed there, okay, means that once we become born again, we have dominion over the world, again, our own world, not over anybody else or any person, place, or thing. We have dominion over our own thoughts. Yeah. That's why I always say, no role play, shut up role play, shut down, go away, play dead, roll over, take a number out of there, go away.
Get away from me.
Yeah, because that way...
And he says, Jesus says that the devil shall resist you.
Yeah.
You flee, and he will flee from you if you resist him.
Yes, resist the devil and he shall flee.
All the thoughts that come in your mind.
That backs up the dominion.
No.
You have dominion over your own, just your own person.
Mm-hmm.
You're controlling your own thoughts. So whatever is coming in your mind, and it happens many times during the day, that you control it.
And that's working out your own salvation, as Paul even took right in.
Yeah, taking every thought captive, making it obedient.
Yes.
And lining up with the Word of God.
Working out your salvation, which born again is. Mm-hmm. Born again is your salvation. Now you got it. Now you have to work out your salvation, meaning every day of every second of every day of every breath you take, you have to think on Christ and all His righteousness.
Yeah, back to what I was going to say earlier about my own life. You know, the big fear within my life was, if I ever, this was a thought rolling around in my head, if I ever give my all unto God, as I understand Him, I would die. And yes, I did die. My personality died.
Everybody's does.
It has to.
When you're born again, it does.
Yeah, because that's what the veil in the temple represents when Jesus died. He has dominion and all authority over the earth. It's written there. Okay? So, and we want to be like Him, Christ-like, putting on the mind of Christ.
Yeah,
Paul got a few things right.
Yeah, he did.
So, to understand that means the fullness of how can two agree, how can two walk together unless they agree. So, you want to agree with God? Agree with Him. Don't fight Him every step of the way. Let Him rewrite your book.
You hit all by Him.
He's rewriting your resume as you live for Him. And He does an excellent work.
He does. He loves you. That's why.
Yeah.
He wants to be with you in eternity. So do as he says.
Yep.
Period. That's all it takes. You don't. It's not a drudge. It's a blessing. So enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy that journey he gives you.
It's a love walk, it ain't a
Yeah, it is.
masterful slave driver thing, you know. He's not a wicked slave driver. He loves you.
No darkness in him at all either. Satan.
Yeah.
The God of this world, and everybody follows.
Yeah, that's Satan. That's all he is darkness.
Again, you follow him.
Darkness, death, mayhem,
churches.
Disorganization, dysfunction, foul.
Exactly. Vileness.
Yeah.
Vileness.
Confusion. That's all it is. Yeah. So be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. That's all God wanted Noah and everybody else to do. Just replenish the earth. Put people on it. Create, procreate and make kids. And they'll make kids and on and on and on. Because dominion had already been defaulted to Satan. So that was the whole thing about it. Satan wanted to be just like God. So when man fell in the garden, God has his own law about himself and about his created things. And he was not going to leave anybody in this world to not have a God in their life. That's why he said in wherever, choose you this day whom you shall serve.
Yeah, Satan.
Yeah, in the days of Moses, yeah. So the dominion was re-given back to us through the embodiment of Jesus himself.
Thank you, Lord.
Christ is the oneness of God. It is his seat of holiness unto God himself, the oneness of God. That's in John chapter 17. Look it up. Read it.
You're one in everything with him, even thought.
Yeah, even if you got to read that chapter 17 of the book of John 100 times a day, do it. Read it aloud. Let his word come through your mouth. Speak it.
It has to.
Yeah. To hear the word of the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of your own mouth, so you get it.
That's how the Old Testament prophets did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, because that is your simple act of obedience unto him in agreement. You agree to be like him and long to hear his voice, and speak his word. You'll hear his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Verse 2.
But you speak it.
Yes.
Not anyone else hear it. Not anyone else speak it.
Yeah.
You hear it.
Bible on tape or whatever.
No, you speak it yourself out loud so you can hear it.
Yeah.
You're ministering unto him his
right.
words of glory, his words of love and honor and truth and everything that is of heaven.
Yeah, authority, power, and dominion. And
born again is.
That all he is within you is.
Yeah.
When you agree, these things become the mind of Christ, which is the oneness of God within, about, around, and through you to others, so that they see the real living article of him himself within and through you.
Yeah, and he does.
Yes.
When you're born again.
Absolutely. Verse 2, chapter 9 of Genesis. And the fear of you, and the dread of you, shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moves upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered.
Right.
In other words, you don't have to try, like in the desert with Moses. You're hungry. They whine about it. So God gave them flesh to eat. All those birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, to the point that it came through their nose and so.
Yeah,
and while they were eating it, they died. Yeah.
Because it was a plague. They weren't happy with what God gave them.
Yeah, the manna.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So he killed them.
Yeah.
He let them die because they were so.
Well, they committed suicide.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, by eating.
I mean, it's not like he murdered them or anything, but it was a plague on top of it because That's all they long for. They didn't long for him. They longed for things.
Yeah, right there is the epitomal point of lack of self-control. They ate themselves to death.
Yeah.
Because God put it in their beings to be fearful and dreadful of mankind, of all these beasts and fowl and everything moves upon the earth and the sea. So into your hand are they delivered. So meaning that when you decide to go out hunting, fishing, whatever, that they'll be flying or moving in such a fashion that whether it's bow and arrow or a gun or whatever, or a fishing pole, you'll catch them.
Mm-hmm.
You shoot them. They'll go down.
God said they would. So
but you make sure that your heart is correct when you're out hunting and fishing and stuff, that you're not greedy.
That's right. You're not just out there to murder.
Yeah. That's why mankind, Fish and Parks Department, Game and Fish, had put on there a limit of how many fish you can catch, how many birds you can shoot out of the sky, how many animals, deer, elk, antelope, buffalo, anything else that you can shoot and take home. Because they have tags for them. It's just being fair to the rest of mankind.
Well, not only that.
Because you're not the only hunter or fisher out there. Hello.
Not only that, but then there are people out there who are just into murdering and killing. They had to do something.
Yeah.
Because too many people were going apeshit.
Yeah. Well, they want to say. Yeah. Well, they want to say, well, look at all those fishermen out there in the oceans and stuff, and they're catching deep sea stuff, crab and all these other things. So what? They even have a license to carry out such a thing because they're doing it for a mass population, not just for you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Verse 3. Every moving thing that lives shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things.
That doesn't mean cannibalism either.
No.
He means anything that is meat, which is your animals and all that kind of stuff, is meat for you.
And the green herb was meat for man in the beginning.
Exactly.
So, meat meaning it's for you to eat it up.
Consume it.
Yum, yum, yum.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Verse 4. But the flesh, with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat.
Right.
The flesh, the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, you don't eat it. Don't drink it. Don't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the blood is the life, and the life is in the blood of everything that moves.
That's right. So don't be drinking blood.
Yeah.
God, that's so vile.
And cook your meat to where it's better than medium. Why have pink?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Stupid. Cook it well done. If you insist on having it medium, well, there you go. You're still into this blood sacrifice thing of, thinking you got to have blood. Really? Maybe that's why a lot of people are having cancers and stuff like this, because they didn't listen to the Lord. Took him for granted. Eating shellfish and stuff like that. Really? Verse 5. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man. At the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man, if they don't follow even this simple commandment.
Mm-hmm.
Life is in the blood. Don't think about it. Otherwise, you're sinning against him. And if you keep on, whatever, that's probably why there's still things going on with schmutz on schmutz crime. You can pick a color. I don't care. It's people killing other people. And that's why. Because God's sick and tired of being sick and tired of you. Oh, that poor individual, they were so innocent. Were they really?
Yeah, God makes a target out of what he wants. Mm-hmm. And if they're a target, there's no way they're innocent.
Yeah, like I say, if there's a bullet bill with your name on it. You can't outrun it. You're not even going to hear it coming.
You're going to have it.
Yeah.
Smack dab in the middle of it.
Verse 6.
He aims it. And that's including his thunder, lightning striking, his thunders and his lightning striking and all that kind of stuff. As
well as fire, floods,
targets.
Famine, pestilence.
Right.
You know, because he got sick and tired of being sick and tired, like he said in the beginning. My spirit shall not always strive with man for that.
Right.
Because of your sinfulness, your slothfulness,
Evil.
Your shredded mindset of dysfunction, reprobate mind. You know? I mean, really, how many times have you walked into a store or anywhere else for your own convenience to do whatever you thought you could, and they got tired of you and 86'd your butt out of there. In other words, trespassed you because you're just a bum in their eyes. Or how many times you walked into those same places and you saw them as a bum of the earth. And it's like, really? You treat me with such disrespect? I guess my money ain't good enough for you. I've had that happen to me several times in my life. I walk in there, I just want to order, it's noontime, whatever. I just want a meal. But they go beyond me and talk to somebody else and take their order that came in after I did. What? I'm not looking for your favor. I'm just looking for what's due.
Yeah. What's
right. You take people in on the order they came in at. Otherwise, it's like, well, really, if that was the case, well, how come they have these things, your call shall be answered in the order it was taken.
Yeah, no.
Really?
But they're liars.
I know. Verse 6. Whoso sheds man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man.
Not he them, but
nope,
he man.
He man, yeah.
He made man.
So the idiom of the heathens died with all those that were before the flood. Now, the heathens line was carried on through Ham's wife.
Right.
Other than that, but that we understand nowadays is the vessels of honor and the vessels of dishonor.
Yep.
That's all it means. Okay?
So if you're disobeying God in any way, then you're of one of the heathens.
Yeah. So, verse 7, and you, be you fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. Okay, so the word dominion has been dropped off. It wasn't spoken of from the days of the beginning after the fall in the garden. It wasn't spoken of after that. Even when Jesus spoke it, he says, overcome the world. But that, in and of its own right, he's letting us know, yes, we can and do have dominion over our own little world, my own little world, your own little world, their own little world, each an individual.
Yeah, your thoughts.
Yeah, you don't judge somebody else for who, what, when, or why, or how. It's none of your business. And you are none of their business either. So, basically, y'all, shut up! Jeez, man. Okay, so, verse 8. God spoke unto Noah and to his sons with him, saying, verse 9. And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, your generations. Verse 10. And with every living creature that is with you. See, he's got his establishing his covenant with not only man and his generations, but every living creature that's with you. Of the fowl, of the cattle, of every beast of the earth with you. From all that go out of the ark, to every beast of the earth. Except for the man-made beast. Said every beast, well, except for the man-made beast. He's what he has created, right? The computers.
Technology.
Right.
Man created it.
Yeah, cars, houses, stuff like that. He's allowing them, but They all, everything has a beginning, has an end. So, yeah.
It's not a good end either.
Yep. And verse 11.
Heinous.
And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there anymore be a flood to destroy the earth. Okay. Now, man, as we discovered in Daniel, has been striving to usher in the end. Yet the end is for its own appointed time. So there's nothing man can do. Oh, they're still trying. But, no, they ain't going to get it.
Globalists, what they're doing in Hollywood and everybody who's rich.
Yep.
Wow.
They're not going to get it done. Flat out. Verse 12, and to those that heard it that are stars in their own right of whatever movie, TV, whatever, news, political, religious, sucks to be you. Mm-hmm. Because God said it. I believe it. That's the end of it. You ain't getting any farther up the rung of the ladder as far as the demise of this world and everybody else in it, because it just ain't happening.
God's holding it back. That's what he held back Hillary for.
Yeah.
Is because he wanted Trump. Well, he got him.
Yeah, that's right.
He wants what he wants, and he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't stop him.
That's right.
So Trump is a prophecy that is fulfilled now.
Yep. Verse 12, and God said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. Perpetual generations means those that are ongoing. Right, yeah, and for the most part, however much denial and stuff, there's still that they live in, their weak minds and doubt and everything else. Yet, perpetual generations are, it's an autonomic response. They just do it. And for the most part, they haven't even got a clue why they're doing it. They're just doing it.
Why they're going to church, but they do it.
Yeah, reproducing. Yeah. It's the ultimate gift and commandment of God to His created beings. Just do it. Don't ask about it. And most times, don't even worry about it. Because like Jesus says, all sins shall be forgiven, except for the sin of blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, which is denying your faith.
Denying born again and being born again.
And to the point that you've finally got God on your side to agree with you. If you didn't agree with Him, He will agree with you. Meaning that if you want a reprobate mind, you'll get a reprobate mind.
Yeah. So
you want what,
thinking on this world.
You want what you got. Well, you get what you want.
Yeah, because He wants it His way.
Yeah.
Or else
you
will have it that way, and you don't want it that way because that leads to the lake of fire.
Yeah, because when it comes to you wanting of Him and desiring fully and only from Him, He will give you Himself, pressed down, shaken together, and running over of Himself within and through you.
Right. Born again.
That burning fire, the living zeal of the living God within and through you. And you can't shut up.
That's what's in us now.
Right.
That's why we're doing what we're doing, only because of that. No other reason. We aren't leaning on our own understanding. We aren't going to church. We don't listen to people online. Mm-hmm. We don't hear Christians and what they have to say. Yeah. We trust Him. Every day we're like this.
Yeah, His word.
We are in His word.
Yeah. Not from anybody else. We hear it from Him.
That's right.
And that by reading and hearing what He says.
Mm-hmm. And believing it all.
Yeah, exactly right.
No matter what, you believe it or else.
And bringing it through to fruition of the clarification of what He's written.
Well, that comes with born again.
Exactly, and discernment.
That comes with born again.
Yep.
You have to be born again first, and then He'll give you the discernment.
Yep. Verse 13, I do set my bow, the bow of promise, okay? Right. I do set my bow in the cloud.
The rainbow.
Yep. And it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth.
But look what people have done with it. Man has
Exactly.
made it into some perverted thing.
Right, yeah.
With all the colors.
But you see what he says, between me and the earth. Did he say between me and you? No. Did he say between me and animals? No. Did he say between me and man? No. He said between me and the earth. The bold promise, the promise of peace, the promise of safety, and the promise of confidence in the Lord of glory, which is right back to the dominion word, having dominion over your own person, your own attitude, personality, mindset, to where you finally man up, womaned up, whatever, to understand I have a soul. And my soul believes in all of his truths. What am I doing in my personality? Denying him in any way, shape, or form. What am I doing, personality? Yeah. Because when you come to your soul spot, you're going, my soul, hallelujah, my soul, thank you, my God, my glorious one, that you've given me the mindset to understand I have a soul that longs for you 24/7, 365, without fail.
Mm-hmm. It does. And that's why we've come to where we are, because we believe that.
That is the revealing, the revelation, that yes, you have a soul. And yes, the Lord of glory, the exactment of God's created being, his only Son, came, lived, preached, taught, lived, was punished, died, and resurrected again, alive forevermore, victorious over death, hell, and the grave. Hallelujah. Bless you, Jesus. And we got mail. Yay. And verse 14. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. Oh, but we see rainbows everywhere. Yeah. But here he says, the bow shall be seen in the cloud. Not as a product of falling rain and everything else and blah, blah, blah. The bow shall be seen in the cloud. If the mist that's the rain is falling is considered as a mist, and a cloud is more times than not a mist, okay, then yeah, we see what rainbow we see, and thankfully for that.
All right, and the sun just makes it like a starburst.
Yeah, it's nice.
Beautiful.
Verse 15, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. So there he's
it's a sign for him.
Yeah, he's signifying it, that it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth in verse 13.
Right.
But here he's fulfilling what he's saying in verse 15, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the water shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. So he's...
It's a reminder to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that he needs one, but
right.
It is a reminder to him. He
yeah.
says, I will look upon it and remember that covenant.
If you want to see what sanctification is, God even sanctified himself in the follow-through between verse 13 and 15. In verse 16, and the bow shall be in the cloud. Verse 14, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. Verse 16, and the bow shall be in the cloud. And I will look upon it. So, when the rainbow is seen in the cloud, and being in the cloud, in verse 16, I will look upon it. It's for God to see. That I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth.
That includes you. So listen up, because he loves you and he's trying to give all his best to you and to us.
Yeah. Yet we see it in this generation, how many people are just so indignant about things. Really?
Well,
you have no clue.
They don't believe God.
They're clueless. They don't want to know.
No, they don't. But they don't believe it. That's why they are the way they are.
I know, and that's because
Satan's seed's still within them.
Because they have purposed it in their heart to do so.
Yeah, they have.
They've just totally taken their faith out of their wallet or wherever else they might have thought they kept it and just threw it on the ground and used it for toilet paper. That's pretty sad, folks.
Yeah, that's vile. That's when he spews you out of his mouth.
Because, like Jesus says, in that day, all the things that a man has shall be taken from him and given to another.
Mm-hmm. Who has faith?
For he who has shall be given more. And to him that has not, even all he thinks he has, shall be taken from him and given to another.
Assume
you're
saved and everything else.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. If you assume, whatever you assume, you're thinking, well, you better know.
You better.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah, you're gonna sit there and quote Ms. Myers. I know that. I know that. Mm. Really? You don't know a squat, especially if you're counting on somebody else's word. That they don't want to go to hell alone.
Yeah. So stop listening to Christians. Stop listening to the TV evangelists and the radio evangelists and all the people in the churches. Get with him and his word alone, with you and him alone, and learn truth.
Let him teach you.
That's right. Otherwise, we'd say, well, here, follow us. No. You follow him.
Yeah.
That's the only way to get the truth. That's how we got the truth.
We're just putting this word out because we're thankful and joyful that he's given us such knowledge to understand the wisdom through his discernment.
Yeah, we know it is, too.
Through his completed work at Calvary.
Mm-hmm. And he's just proving himself in this day what he does through a person.
And he's always remained.
Who used to be sinners.
He's always remained holy, righteous, true, and faithful to all.
That's right. And he can do the same through you.
Because Jesus says he's made his sun to shine and rain to fall on the unjust and the unholy.
That's right.
So who do you think you are? Oh, you go to church, you think you're something? You ain't squat.
The churchgoers are in
Jesus
terrible trouble.
In that day,
they know it.
even the whores and the barflies will get into the kingdom before you. And who is he talking to? The Pharisees, Sadducees, and the scribes. Yeah.
He's in the kingdom.
Yeah.
When the time comes, he's in his rest right now.
Whether it's in this life or in that life to come, God's made that dispensation that none should perish.
That's right.
So if it's on your last ounce of life, I'm not talking about breathing, I'm talking about your life here on earth, and you finally at that moment before you're put into eternity, you make that decision.
Yeah, because no one knows when they'll go.
That's right.
And that was in sudden death.
Yeah.
And in those throes of death, he came to Christ.
And that's totally God's design. Nothing that mankind could ever say, think, or do.
That's the door he opened, and no man can shut.
And that's the revealing, that he gave me to understand about that. So you say, well, suicide, that's unforgivable sin. Who made you God? Who made you judge over anybody? No, nobody can assume any kind of thought about anybody else. I don't care. I don't give two rats whether it's Hitler, Obama, Osama bin Laden, anybody.
You can't.
God's got a purpose within his own personal spot that he's going to pick and choose who he's going to pick and choose, and you cannot usurp the authority of God.
That's right. He said that he will
have mercy on whom he has
mercy, and have compassion on whom he has compassion.
Right.
It's up to him. It's not up to us.
No.
Although we better be doing his things his way.
Yeah.
Or else.
That's why he gave us life, so that we could grow to understand him above and beyond anybody, any person, place, and thing else.
Yeah,
he gave us life to understand, the ability to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But, you can sit there and drink yourself to death, do yourself to death, drug yourself to death, whatever.
That isn't smart.
To the death. Really? Because that is. Because
he gave us, our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And that's where he belongs, but we don't allow him in until we're born again. So once you're born again, you will have him in you.
That's right.
And that's what he's trying to teach. We're trying to teach it through him for you. He's using us to teach you so you can get it and you can be just like we are.
Absolutely.
Be like he is. That's what we all have to be before we even leave this earth.
Which is following Jesus' commandment to follow me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Verse 17, and God said unto Noah, this is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. Here he's even putting mankind in the kingdoms of all the kingdoms of the world. Animal, vegetable, mineral, everything else. Rocks, birds, trees, fish, everything. We're all in the same boat. All flesh that is upon the earth. All kingdoms. It's a token covenant between God and His created.
His created being.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Verse 18. And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem and Ham and Japheth. It's kind of like on a while you're out, little pink slip. Oh, and Ham is the father of Canaan. What?
That's what it says.
Okay, but the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
I think it's this one.
It just says, and Ham was the father of Canaan. Canaan was not in the boat.
No, he wasn't.
Ham's wife was not pregnant with Canaan when they were on the boat. No, it just didn't happen.
And also, how do you know?
That happened. I watched a couple of movies. And I figured out, wow, that's kind of fake. That's stupid. I mean, it wasn't written in the Bible that way, so I'm not believing that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm taking what I got from His word out of His mouth. Okay. Verse 19. Now, here's talking about the generations of Noah. Verse 19. These are the three sons of Noah. And of them was the whole earth overspread.
Mm-hmm. That's where everyone came from.
Yep.
Noah.
So that's the new beginning right there. That's the second beginning. Verse 20. And Noah began to be an husbandman, landscaper, and he planted a vineyard. Verse 21. And he drank of the wine and was drunk. And he was uncovered within his tent.
Yeah.
Okay, his feet weren't hanging out. He was in his tent.
Yeah, he was covered in his tent, basically, but he was uncovered, that's all.
Yeah, he was uncovered in his tent.
He was in his tent, so that means he's covered in a way.
Right.
He's not out in the
laying next to a cactus all, no. Verse 22, and Ham, I don't know why they put that, the father of Canaan, really. And Ham saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without. Okay, Ham we see here is a tattletale. Gossip, really? Dude, really? What are you doing? First, what are you doing in his tent? You trying to drink up some of his wine? And then, to embellish the whole thing, you go out and brag onto your brothers. Hey, man, check it out. Pop's in there all naked and crap.
Why would that interest
Really?
him? Why?
It was stupid.
Nothing ever interests me in my mom and dad. I don't care what it was.
Especially talking about his two brothers. Like, I guess sin had to start somewhere.
I guess.
In the beginning, it was Eve. And then Cain, And now here it is, Ham.
And Canaan, yeah.
And verse 23, and Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon their shoulders and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father.
Yeah.
And their faces were backward and they saw not their father's nakedness. Okay, so here's virtue. Okay, I guess you could call it Ham went out and forewarned his brothers, hey, just by chance, you want to borrow his watch, his crescent wrench or whatever. Okay, dude's in there, passed out, drunk off his keister and naked as a jaybird, okay? Just give you the heads up.
But I don't think it was after what was said. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we see that, I don't know, you know, why else was Ham in there? I mean, unless you want to get, you know, hey, Pops, you got any more wine there, Pops? Whoa, my God. Whoa, you're naked, dude. You know, I mean, it could have been, but, you know, but why was he there? You know, it didn't say. So anyway, his brothers went in, walking backwards, and, you know, took a garment, you know, maybe the door flap on his tent. They ripped it off and put it on their shoulders and walked backward and flop. You know, that's probably what woke him up, because in verse 24, and Noah woke from his wine. Yeah, it's probably that heavy tarp that he had on the end of his tent there, and he just ripped it off, you know, and walked backwards. As soon as the breath of that and weight of that cloth hit him, it woke him up, startled him, like, what? Here, where's my gun? You know? Anyway, when he awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Verse 25, and Noah said, cursed be Canaan.
That was immediate.
Yeah.
Cursed be Canaan. Now, who's Canaan?
Okay, now, it could possibly be, now, it didn't give a time span here.
Mm-mm.
Could have been like 5 or 10 years. I mean, you know, he was a husbandman. So when you plant a vineyard or anything else you plant, okay,
You gotta wait for a while.
yeah. And so for
Yeah.
a vineyard, yeah, you got to wait 4 or 5, maybe 8 years for a grapevine to grow and actually mature into glean really decent grapes that you can use. You know, so yeah, so he's, you know, several years beyond that. So if Canaan was alive at that point when he cursed Canaan, okay, that the boy was only like, you know, 5, 6, 7 years old,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but yet, you know, he looked at Ham and he said, cursed be Canaan. Scroll down, please. Cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. Now, cursed be Canaan. Did that say anywhere in there that, he's cursed? That's all he said. It didn't say that he changed Canaan into a black man or a white man or Chinese or Japanese or Vietnamese or Indonesian or whatever. It didn't say it. He says, cursed be Canaan. A servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren.
That's what he said.
Yeah, that's all he said.
Servant.
Yep. And verse 26, and he said, Noah said, blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. Verse 27, God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant.
Mm-hmm.
And Noah lived after the flood 350 years. All the days of the life of Noah were 950 years, and he died. 950 years. Okay, I did
Almost 1,000 years.
Yeah, so I did the math on Methuselah, which I also did the math on people that are age 65. Now.
Right now.
Right. Now, of the days before the flood, a year was 251 days. That's what it said. Because there was hot and cold. Summer and winter, there weren't no fall and spring.
Mm-hmm.
If there would have been, he just told us so. And there was summer, spring, winter, fall. But he didn't. He says there's hot and cold. Winter and summer. That's it. So the days, 251 days a year. Doing the math, Noah, at the age of 500 years old, at 251 days a year, lived 125,500 days.
How much?
125,500 days. And that equates to, if we lived that many days on the face of the earth in this time span, at 365 days a year, okay, that would make us an equivalent of 343.8 years old. Just doing the math. Because there's a difference between 251 days in a year and 365 days in a year. Because at the old days of 251 days per year, at an age of 65 years old, would be 16,315 days.
Boy, we look good for our age.
Yeah, because what we've actually lived at 365 days a year at age 65 is 23,725 days. A difference of 7,410 days older than the 251 days per year. Which that equates to us at the age of 65 years old in 365 days a year, okay. You equate that to 251 days a year, that was the original days of the year. Doing those numbers, okay, makes us at age 65 94 and a half years old. Just doing the math. So how do you feel now, youngster? Because
65, we're 94.
94 and a half years old. Yep. Because Abram, I did the math on Abram at 100 years old, and his days were 360 days in a year, which would, at 100 years old, be 36,000 days. That puts him at an age of 143.4 years old. Yep. So anyway, just doing the math. I like doing math. It's kind of neat being able to find out how old you are.
Yeah, why don't they put that up there? Because they don't know it.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will start putting it up there and let them know. This is how, and then they can judge it by the times of before the flood and now after the flood.
Yeah, because now we can see how old Methuselah was at 960 years old at the 251 days a year thing. Okay, he lived 243,219 days, which in today's terminology of 365 days per year, at 243,219 days, equals out to be 666 and a third years old for Methuselah. Mm-hmm. So it's all a matter of the days. So if you want to start recalculating your age, I mean, let's see.
Truly.
Yeah.
Recalculating.
Yeah, so it...
Not by man's idea.
So a 4-year-old is actually 1,000 years, or 1,000 days old. Okay.
Wow.
But 251 days a year. Mm-hmm. But, let's see, 730 twice is 0, 6, 14... 29, 20, 2,920 days old a 4-year-old is now. So that'd be, so a 4-year-old in that calculation of things, of 251 days, 4-year-old is actually 11 years old. In that time span.
Mine, but
yeah. Just food for thought. Anyway, that's the end of chapter 9, folks. Blessed peace of Jesus with you. And
this is very, very good.
Okay, we're going to run into chapter 10 here real quick.
Yeah, real quick.
I mean, while we're up. But, okay, chapter 10, Genesis. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were sons born after the flood.
Yes.
Got to put that in. After the flood. That's the way it's written. After the flood. And I go right back to that out of chapter 2, or 3 actually. Then began man to call upon the name of the Lord. That was after Enos, son of Shem. Seth. So there's Adam, Cain and Abel, Seth, and then Enos. And then it started talking about Methuselah and all those other guys.
And then the Noah.
Right. So.
This is where also Abram came from.
Yeah. So.
This is very good to read.
Yeah, you're right. So this is, exactly right. So this is why we bring this forward, because then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. That's why the men's names, if you call upon the name of the Lord, your name's written in the Lamb's Book of Life, so it's no big deal. It doesn't have to be in the Bible to be there. You're written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Which would you rather be? Written in a Bible somewhere? That you could be burnt? How many books are burnt nowadays?
And remain in it. You can remain in it if you just get out of your thought life in your mind with this world and its ways and its teachings.
Yep.
Get away from it.
Verse 2, the sons of Japheth. Okay, I'm going to go through this real quick because he's got like 12 kids or whatever. Anyway, 12 names that are listed in there. Maybe 16. I don't know. Do the math.
But a lot of them, some of them are spoken throughout the Old Testament, so remember that.
I will. I'm coming back to it. I'm just going to bump from verse 2. The sons of Japheth. Okay. And I'm going to leave that off there and go to verse 5. By these were the isles of the Gentiles, divided in their lands, everyone after his own tongue, everyone after their families, and everyone in their nations. Now, I'm going to go back and name them. Sons of Japheth: Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras. That's 7 sons. The sons of Gomer, his firstborn: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. 3 sons that were named. Verse 4. And the sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. 4 sons. So, just in those 2, Gomer and Javan, okay, he had 7 grandsons that had notable names. Okay. And like I say, by these were the isles of the Gentiles. Isles of the Gentiles, whatever. Divided in their lands. Okay, now it goes to verse 6. The sons of Ham.
Here's Ham.
Yep. Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. He was the 4th of the family. Canaan was the baby of the family.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Cursed be Canaan.
Right. So, there's Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, 4 kids, and they're all alive when Noah cursed Canaan. Then Canaan, if he was like a year old, which would understand, that Cush was 7, Mizraim 6, Put 4, and Canaan 1, maybe 2 years old. Okay, just doing the math. Verse 7. And the sons of Cush: Sheba, Havilah, Sabta, Rahama, Sabtecha. 5. And the sons of Ramah: Sheba and Dedan. Verse 8. And Cush begat Nimrod. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And his sixth son's name was Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. Verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter, before the Lord. Verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom, Nimrod's kingdom, was Babel, and Erech, Akkad, Calneh. Three lands in the three cities in the land of Shinar. Verse 11. And out of that land went forth Ashur and built Nineveh and the city of Rehoboth and Calah, and reasoned between Nineveh and Calah. The same is a great city. Reason. Verse 13. And Mizraim begat Dudim, Anamim, and Lehabim, and Naphtuhim, and Pathrusim, Kazluhim, out of whom came Philistine, and Kophtorim. So the Ims there, which out of Mizraim, were the Ims, the giants. Mm-hmm. So it's Mizraim, Ludim, Anamim, Lahabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, and Kazluhim,
and they all
which were Philistim and Caphtorim. So there's 9 breeds of the giants in that land out of Ham, right?
Yeah, Ham.
Verse 15. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvavite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad.
Yeah. And this is all from Ham.
Yeah. Yeah, right there. From verse 6 on down, yeah.
Right there.
Up one. Go up one. There it is, verse 6. Those are all Ham's kids.
Yep.
Ham's kids. Ham's kids. Aren't you glad you're not a Ham's kids?
Yeah. See, do you remember when Israel was going over the Jordan, they had to kill these people?
Yep.
These chosen ones?
Yep.
And that's way down the road.
Yep. Yet the Jebusite, Jebus, okay, were the ones that were the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Right. So Ham's kids, well, they're all, Hivite, all of them, the ites.
Yeah, that's Ham.
In the land of Canaan, right. Right. And there's the giants.
So that proves that that's where they ended up.
Yep.
Ham's kids.
Yep.
In Canaan.
Right. Okay, and verse 19. Whoa. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as you come to Gerar, unto Gaza, as you go unto Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. Verse 20, these are the sons of Ham, after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. So, when Noah cursed Canaan, that's where the ites and the ims came from. Mm-hmm. Ites, ites could be equated to, what do they call it? Tolerance. They tolerated everything.
Yeah, that's today.
Yeah, and even from their own mindset and all of their inspirations that they got and ideas and ideals. They made that their own God. Yet they still had a stern respect for the one true, glorious God of glory. Intuitively.
Yeah, intuitively. But
Yeah, because I know, but I mean,
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, but they did hold out that much respect for him because they knew he was all powerful. Because after the days of David and those emeralds, yeah, they had a respect for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all they didn't so much with Saul, but Saul was just a man, King Saul. So they respected God, but they did not respect any man, which is what we see nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Which was what the Ims and the Ites were all about. They respect God Almighty. Just in that He's greater than everybody else. They know it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt about it in their hearts.
It's in everybody's soul.
I know. It's just,
I believe it.
Yeah, at least they had that much of faith that God gave unto every man. They utilized that faith in just that God of all gods is God of heaven and glory and creator, and they strove not to piss him off. They can mess with each other and everybody else, but they never got in his face.
Like Israel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, because even in the days of David and all that stuff and Saul, you see how they never blasphemed God. They never did. Okay. Verse 21. And unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder. Even to him were children born. There's Shem. And verse 21. The children of Shem.
22.
Yeah, verse 22, right. The children of Shem. Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, Aram, 5 sons. And the children of Aram, Uz, and Hul, Gether, and Mash, 4 sons. And Arphaxad begat Salah. I'm sure he had other sons, but Salah was the one who was named. And Salah begat Eber. And here's an important Here's an important part everyone needs to take a real good, close inspection of here in verse 25. Give that a green or something different color. There you go, babe. Thank you. And then verse 25. And unto Eber, Arphax's grandson, unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg. For in his days was the earth divided. Pangea.
Did you ever hear that?
You've heard of it.
You now are. Something new God wants you to know.
Yeah. And his brother's name was Joktan. Okay. The reason I make differential about this here is because, for one, in his days, in the days of Eber, was the earth divided. The Western civilization, indigenous tribes and stuff, it's just coming up now from Choktan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's of greater understanding that we get this, that it was after the flood that Pangea took place.
Yeah, it was.
Because,
it had to have been.
Yeah, right.
It says it right here that the earth
Exactly
was
right.
divided. Literally, the earth divided.
Chapter 10, verse 25. Write it down, keep it with you, because there's another part in chapter 10 here that it'll talk about something else.
Yeah.
Somewhat close to that, but you can tell the difference. So, anyway, verse 26. And Joktan, Peleg's brother, okay. Joktan begat Almodad, Shalef, Hazamabath, Jarah, Haram, Azal, Dichla, Obal, Abimelech, and Sheba. Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. 13 sons. These were Joktan's sons. Verse 30. Mark this well. And their dwelling, of Joktan's family, and his 13 kids, okay? And their dwelling was from Meshah. As you go unto Sephar, a mount of the east. Okay. Verse 31. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations. Now, verse 32. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So, verse 25, you scroll up real quick. All right. Verse 25, under Eber, Peleg. Okay. For in his days was the earth divided. That's Pangea. Now, the Western civilization, indigenous tribes, is Joktan and his 13 sons and their families and tribes and blah, 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 which goes down to verse 30. And their dwelling was from Meshah, as you go unto Sephar, a mount of the east. Before the flood, what we know of now as north, before the flood was north. During the flood, that 150 days, the poles shifted so that south was the new north. So as you look a mount to the east, the pole had not shifted back again yet. The mount to the east, Meshah and Sephar, would have been to their west in the natural order of things that we know of north.
You have to redo it. Okay.
But that's fine. So, back then, looking at the south being the north at that time, in all essence, they went to a mount to the east. That's how Moses wrote it. He didn't know any better. Didn't care. He was just taking it from God's word. God wouldn't lie to him. So, and everybody agrees that poles do shift. There you go. There's proof right there. So they went to the west instead of the east. Although it's written a mount of the east, because it was in the east in their day. Sun came up in the east, sets in the west. Always had. But when the poles shift, got to be mindful to use your compass. Okay, I'm looking north. And if it shifts again, well, you know, in this day and age, if it shifted right now, tomorrow morning the sun will be coming up in the west. Because we're still thinking on northern latitude. Okay. But if the sun ever does come up in the west, there you go. As far as what we know is northeast, west, and south. Okay. Okay, so.
Well, that's what the end days are going to have. There's going to be a real big, huge pole shift.
Oh, yeah, and plus the...
Everything's going to shift.
Yeah, and the days are only going to be 16 hours long, so you want to talk about confusion. Yeah, start doing the math now, because then you're going to be totally lost. All right, and so verse 32, these are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. So, nations division here means nations. They put up their own boundaries, you know, fences, posts, rocks, whatever, so that everybody knew don't go past the green rock. That's yo-yo.
But he said the earth was divided in 25. So
right, and that's
there's a difference.
Exactly. So, whether they crossed the river or whatever, I don't know. Could care less. I mean, they went to a mount in the east of the land. And to them, it was east to them. Yet we find out now, because Pangea and everything, has everything shifted and everything, and I don't care what their computer model says. We're in the United States now. We're the people, really, of the East, the original East. When you really think about it. I know, but just forget about the other stuff and don't let it confuse you. Just imagine. We are the original people of the East. Living in the original East.
Because we are the West. That's why. No, we are the original people of the East because we were in the East. Now we're in the West.
Well, through our family line, last 2,000 years, I mean, poles shifted again when Jesus came.
But it was a pole shift here, too.
Right. So they want to say that the poles shift every so many thousands of years. Yeah, really, science. I'm not taking your word for it.
Science wouldn't guess as good as you can.
What
are you?
I'm not guessing.
They guess at everything.
I know.
What kind of
their theory?
What
Just a
kind
guess.
of thing do you want to believe in? Do you want truth that will save your soul one day for heaven, or do you want assumption that man does through all their crazy beliefs and their theories and their?
Because science, all they want to do is create theories. So they make it look like they're all that in a box of snark. Yet, the thing is, all their theories are just mere facts. God's truth outweighs all of man's facts.
It does. Oh, yeah, it does.
Totally, 100%.
100%.
Without fail, okay.
Yeah. So you either get truth or nothing.
So, we're shutting this off at the end of chapter 10 in Genesis. Peace of Jesus with you all.
Yeah.
May these...
Blessed Sabbath day again.
Yes, may these little words
of
truth and discovery fill your life with awe and wonder.
Yeah, it did with us.
Yeah, because it's food for thought, y'all. You wanted something
and it's from him, not from anybody.
Yeah, so you wanted something to chip your teeth on? Well, here you go.
Not from us. It's from him.
And I hope you don't chip your teeth. That hurts. But, and your teeth feel weird after you chip a tooth. Gritty. So, love y'all in Christ. Talk to you soon.
Love you.
Bye-bye.